Buenas noches a todos, it's the Blind Poet, and I'm here to talk today about things that blind people do that people will definitely misconceive as sort of signs of mental illness. Now, a little bit of context before this video. You'll see a lot of blind people, especially in elementary school. They will either be placed in a class for severely mentally handicapped people or be placed in a class on their own. The simple fact is, blind people require a different form of education. Does it mean we're stupid? No, but let's put things into perspective. It takes a lot longer to learn how to read Braille and use magnification technology as opposed to basically being able to stare at the blackboard. So, that being said, most blind people have a lot of brain activity that's just not being used. Therefore, the stimulation has to come out somehow. So, most of the time you might see blind people do one of these 5 things. Let's address the first one. Tapping. It's a safe bet that any blind person you run will exhibit one of these tics, and it's nothing to do with a mental handicap or anything. It's stimulation. When you have a lobe in your brain that's not receiving any activity, you have to get that energy out one way or the other. Second one, head bobbing. Perhaps the second most common trait. Unfortunately, a lot of blind people do that because when they get excited, it's reflexive. You know, they don't really have the concept of who's looking and how this looks wrong because they have no reference of seeing other people that don't do it. And again, when this is seen, the misconception is that there's some sort of mental handicap. The third thing, spinning in circles, which I unfortunately am extremely guilty of subconsciously. This, for me, is something I sometimes find myself doing without even realizing it. I could eat an entire full meal and still spin even if I get dizzy. It's something that comes out. It's a form of extra stimulation because when I get excited, I don't have a way to show it in terms of like hand expressions or, just overall being able to convey something visually. So I just burn my energy like that. And again, 9 times out of 10, I will not even realize I'm doing it. The fourth thing would be rocking back and forth. This one is more common with blind teenagers / pre-adolescents, but it's also just as much of a tic as anything else. This is more of a comfort tic, as some people that do this tend to also have sort of anxiety issues or, a troubled family life at home, and it's sort of a way to, relieve themselves. They feel comfortable when they do this. There are some blind people that have had a stressful day. You will find them in the room just rocking back and forth for an hour contemplating things. And the fifth and final one is tapping. Let's see what we got here in my pocket. Well, guess it's time to look like a degenerate because all I've got is a jewel. But essentially, you'll see. All the time with people that are blind. And it's usually to get the tactile feel of something, get the weight of it, but also just to, if you haven't noticed, and this is not about Stevie Wonder, blind people are very rhythmic. We can take anything and tap on it and make it into a beat. And sometimes we don't know how to turn it off, and it's not really appealing in public. Okay, now with these 5 tics, something needs to be understood. Misconceptions are rife, and it would be fair to assume that the guy spinning in circles, poking his eye and bobbing his head probably has something going on upstairs. But everyone is different. Blindness is not a one-size-fits-all case. We are not special needs. We just learn differently. Unfortunately, it's easier for most counselors to either medicate most students and separate them from the rest of the school as opposed to teaching them the skills to mainstream and interact with their fellow peers. I will make a video later on the debate between mainstream education and private education, but this definitely ties into it. And I hope that when you see this video, and if you see a blind person next time walking down the street, maybe bobbing his head or tapping on his key, just know that it's not out of simplicity, it's just mental stimulation. I mean, you probably talk with your hands when you're angry and you don't even realize it. It's just what we do as humans. Thank y'all and have a wonderful evening.